Hey, what's up, everybody? And this is Melvin from the Melvin Life Show. This is episode number 3, right? And in today's live stream, what I'd like to share with you is this, what would I call it? This thing that have always been on my mind. And this thing that has always been on my mind, it's about you have to have a plan, right? And whatever you do, you have to have a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so that was the conventional wisdom at one point in time. And pretty much my days when I was doing consulting for schools, that was pretty much what I subscribed to, because I was essentially teaching schools how to plan. And I swear by, and I'm a great proponent of, you got to have a plan. So for myself, what I do is every year I would dive into a personal planning session. And in that personal planning session, I would inevitably be talking about, looking at my goals, what I want to achieve for that year, and all that good stuff. And last year, before we kind of cross over to 2020, I was having a good run because I was practically, reaping the reward from the work that I've done in 2018 by putting out all those videos on LinkedIn. And so when I came into 2020, before we came into 2020, my main focus was really to have a solid plan, because 2019 was a good run and I want to make sure that I'm able to keep up the momentum in 2020. I mean, it just makes sense, isn't it? And so at the end of 2019, that was basically what I did. I essentially looked at, what are my goals? What are my income goals? What are my impact goals? What are some of the goals that I want to be able to inspire me to achieve my goals? So, I have this 3 levels of goals: the income goal, the impact goal, as well as the inspire goal, right? Because I need income. Okay, I have to be responsible. I mean, I have a wife, I've got 2 young children, and I need to be responsible as the dad, as the guy in the household, right? I need to be responsible. So I've always had an income goal. Now, in addition to the income goal, I would, of course, want to look at the impact goal. And the impact goal really is talking about what kind of impact I would like to make for that year. And sometimes the impact goal would be, I want to work with 100 individuals, right? Or I want to work with 18 schools in that year itself. And that becomes my impact goals. Of course, the impact goals and the income goals kind of intertwine, because arguably, unless I'm able to make an impact, I would not be able to make an income. At least that's how I see it. Of course, you can make an income without making an impact at all, right? But that's not how I want to live my life. And I also have a set of goals that I call it the inspire goals. And these inspire goals are basically goals that I want to have so that I could go out there and inspire other people. Right? So these other people could be my own children. These other people could be my friends, could be people in my community. And that's the group of people that I want to be able to inspire. And so I have those goals going on. What are your goals for 2020? Has it all been wiped out because of COVID-19? Well, for me, all the goals, especially the income goal, has been wiped out because of COVID-19. And what I used to subscribe to was the idea that you must have a plan, because if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. However, when we do planning, the planning is predicated on a set of beliefs and assumptions that we have when we were doing the planning. And so when you were planning ahead for 2020, I don't think you have included a scenario whereby an epidemic is going to break out. And so, it's highly unlikely that you would be having some kind of a plan of that sort. And so, you will base your plan. So when you have a plan, or when you're doing a planning, the planning is predicated based on what you think is going to happen, right? You have certain assumptions and certain beliefs, and that's how you plan forward. So one might be planning, for example, that in 2020, I'm going to be speaking in 6 different countries. I would be conducting 200 seminars, whatever. And that is all predicated based on the fact that certain things would continue being the same. However, we know that with COVID-19, many of the things that we knew, it's now not possible to execute, right? For example, for me, my business with the school, it's badly affected because there is no way I am able to conduct face-to-face training with the schools. And as a result of that, I'm not going to meet my income goal for the school's business. And once you have that kind of a plan, and when you come into a situation like COVID-19, what's going to happen? All your assumptions about how things are going to be has been thrown out. And as a result of that, you will then have to rethink how you would want to operate. And so the way that you operate right now have to be very different. And if you were not able to be flexible and to be fast enough to embrace some of the new things, then I think it's going to be a big problem for you. And so I think while it's good that we have to plan, I think just always have a plan can be a lie, because in this current context, my way of operating is I'm not going to plan too far ahead, because I do not know what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. Things could get better, hopefully, or things could get worse, hopefully not. But who's going to tell, and who's going to know? No one, right? And so we can predict and we can make plans. However, we also need to be flexible enough, and we also need to be able to recognize the opportunities that present itself, especially in the case of this pandemic, whereby various opportunities have presented itself. But were you able to spot it? Were you able to take advantage of it? Were you in a good position and at the point in your life to be able to take advantage of that, right? So some of you were able to, some of you might not be able to. And so for me, it was lucky because when we did the 1-year travel in 2016, 2017, one of the things that I was really getting myself to do was this idea of I need to be able to earn an income from anywhere in the world, right? So it doesn't have to be location dependent. And as a result of that, I tried many things, and many of the things failed. But some of the things that succeeded was some of the best thing that happened to me. Of course, at the point in time, no one's gonna know, no one's gonna be able to tell that this is gonna happen. But now that this has happened, this is phenomenal. And so the thing that I've been building in the last couple of weeks pretty much focus on this one thing. And this one thing is basically looking at how do we get people to trust us? Because arguably, you are getting more content. And if you're getting more content, what's going to happen is that there is no way that you can consume all this content. And the smarter ones among us, what we're going to do is that we are definitely going to be discerning, because we just have so much time. I can't possibly be watching every single YouTube channel, for example. It's just not possible, nor is it my liking. Now, even if it's something that I want to do, it's just impossible to do that. And so the smarter one among us will have to be, more discerning, and to be able to say that, well, there's just too much content and there's too little time. And so what I have to do is I really have to be able to say that, look out for content that are good and content that are not so good. And so unless you have content that are good, or you are further along, that means you have already built up, your website and your podcast and your vlog for many, many years now. You are at that prime. But what if you're not, right? What if you're not? And I firmly do not think that just because you have not done that, you have lost out, and there is no way in getting back. There is always this belief that the best time to plant a tree, was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is today. So what I like to do is I like to urge you to think about two possibilities. One is that you have a specific skill and you want to create content and share with people about that skill set that you have and how you're able to solve a problem. Now, until and unless you're able to do that, you are just putting out content that may or may not add value to people. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you add value. And by adding value these days, really, it comes down to, can you solve my problem? Can you solve my problem? Now, if you're able to solve my problem, I'm prepared to listen to you. I'm prepared to invest at least 20 minutes of my life watching you every day. And so that's what I believe that I'm going to do, because every day I'm going to be, live broadcasting for at least 20 minutes, at the most 20 minutes, right? And within this 20 minutes itself, I want to be able to provide you with value. So the value could be in the form of, hey, I've learned something and I want to share with you. Or a value could be, it's a different way of thinking, right? And a different way of thinking is going to help you achieve that greatness itself. So what I really, really like to do is to get you to think about how you are able to, create something, and don't just exist. Because there's just too many people out there with the content. So the way you could do this is really look at what you're good at, how you can do something really, really awesome. And one of the things that you can really, really do is to be able to teach someone how to solve that problem. And the moment you're able to do that, that's where you get the and when you get the attention, the next thing it's, you want to be able to build that trust. And how do you build a trust? The best way to do that, the best way I know how, is essentially to help someone get the result they want. Because once you're able to help them get the results that they want, that's where you have their trust. And so help them get the results that they want, and then demonstrate to them what is it like to do business with you. And of course, there are various business models that you can explore, that you can think of. But the bottom line is that how could you demonstrate to them that this is how it's like to do business with you? So the thing that I really urge you to think about is this, right? That when you plan, you may be planning that things are going to remain the same, but we have seen that things did not remain the same. And so as a result of that, what is it that you're going to do? You can rethink the way that you operate, the way that you be doing your business, the way that you will be providing value. So is there an alternative way, right? Is there an alternative way? Is there a new way? Is there a better way? Is there a refreshing way that you could provide value itself? So like, for example, for me, I take it that the way forward is to really look at live streaming, because I believe that live streaming is something that either you have it or you don't, because or you have done enough practice, or you have the audacity to put yourself out there every single day in real time. Because what you're saying right now, it's what you get, right? I mean, in front of me, there is no script. In front of me, there is just this camera. And I'm looking into the camera right now because I'm imagining that you are listening and you're watching. And as you're watching and listening, inevitably you are going to feel that there is some value to you, because if there isn't any value to you at all, then you're gonna leave. So that is gonna be the way that I've planned, and I'm glad that I have been planning that way, because otherwise I think this time round I will be caught in that situation. What are your thoughts, right? What are your thoughts about this? I mean, I'd like to know. So if you're watching right now, or even if you are watching the replay, please let me know what are your thoughts on this, because I think it's something that it's really important for me to know what are your thoughts and how you could actually implement this, and if this is valuable to you at all, right? Like I say, I have committed myself to be doing this, and whether I am going to be doing it and I'm going to be a hero at the end of the day, or I am going to make a fool of myself, that's something that remains to be seen, right? So the thing I'm building right now is what I call a catalytic course. And what is a catalytic course? A catalytic course basically is a course that nudges you to take the necessary steps to implement certain things. And as you implement it, you are going to see certain results. And when you see results, that is where you get a win, right? You get some level of success. You have an improved in terms of the confidence. And if you have improved in terms of confidence, and you begin to realize that, hey, this could work, and that is where you would want to go deep dive into. And so my point is that, is there a framework that you could use that help you create what we call a catalytic course, right? But there are also other questions on my mind, right? Like, is this how else could I do it? I mean, is there a better way to do this, or what are some of the other things to do? And so the main thing that I learned today really is to be very clear about what I want. And I think I've done that. Right? And I invested at least half a morning this morning to really plan out my OKR, right? Objectives and key results. And a couple of weeks back, I actually have 3 OKR, but today I just narrow it down to one, just one OKR. And based on that OKR itself, is to spell out the things that must be done to make this happen. And so my OKR basically it's looking at it must have a business that builds itself, right? And how does a business build itself? It's where you have an audience and you are able to continually value add to this audience. And over time, this audience are going to become part of your community. And once they become part of your community, that is where some of them will become your customer. And so it's what we call the ACC model, because they start off as a audience, they end up as part of the community, and then they become your customers. And so when I look at this whole process itself, that was what really got me excited, and I decided that this is going to be the thing that I want to focus on, and so that's why I trim it down from 3 to just 1. All right, so that's it for today. I'll share with you more. If you got questions, feel free to ask. I'll be more than glad to talk more with you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.